Let's make an 1870s dog collar. Good day everyone, my name is Caitlin. I'm a living historian who educates other living historians by teaching old-fashioned sewing skills and copying original garments. I am actually joined here by Lady accidentally. She wasn't planning on being here. I wasn't planning on having her here for this part of the video, but she happens to be here anyway. Anyway, I've been working through some Victorian crafts that I've wanted to do, and I've only brought Lady to a single event ever, but I very quickly realized that having a collar leash set type thing for if an emergency comes up and I have to bring her to something would be a very good idea. So we're going to start just kind of randomly making things every once in a while, every couple months or something. So we're going to start with a bustle-ish era, so like an 1870s collar for her. And so I found one that's in Godey's 1871 while I was looking for, I knew it was there while I was finding the actual article. I found out it's also in Harper's 1867, which doesn't surprise me. These fashion magazines plagiarized and stole things from each other all the time, so that's fine. In fact, I didn't even notice, I didn't even look at what month Godey's was. I'm kind of interested if, did Godey steal from Harper's or did Harper steal from Godey's? Let's find out. Women's Telegraphers in England. That sounds like a fun article. June. Okay, so Godey stole from Harper's. That actually doesn't surprise me at all. To be fair, Harper's probably stole it from a French magazine or something. Anyway, it is basically a series of rings that we're putting together and we're weaving together, but we're going to we're going to crochet over the rings first. So I actually had picked out these silver rings, and then I actually pulled up the thing and it said brass rings. So luckily I had the same ring in brass. Don't know why I have all these rings. I don't remember needing them for anything. But they're roughly 1 inch wide little metallic rings. And we are going to be using a series of these, and it doesn't tell you how many because obviously that's going to depend on your dog. So I'm going to have to measure Lady's neck and then figure out how much of an overlap they have and then figure out how many chains I need for that. This should be fun. It does say to do it in scarlet wool. Yeah, scarlet wool, which I have scarlet wool and I could do it, but I am running low on my red yarn and I need it for a petticoat. But I have tons and tons of this, and I think this looks really good with Lady's coat. So we're going to be doing more of a wine-colored wool. Only other tool I'm going to need is a crochet hook, and it does say to use some braid to weave them together, which I do not have braid this color. The closest thing I would have is white, which I don't know if that would look good. We might try the white. I also might try to braid some braid from the actual yarn to match. So I think we're going to make that decision in a little bit. But I think first we're going to do a series of rings and just crochet over them. This shouldn't be too hard. It's just going to be a little bit time consuming, but it is crochet, so it should go pretty quickly. But yeah, let's go ahead and make ourselves a collar. Alright, so there's one ring. And you know, there were very few directions for this, which doesn't actually surprise me. But it's basically I'm doing a single crochet across. And it's just however many stitches fill a ring. And I'm squishing them a little bit, only because I don't want to see the brass underneath. When I get close to that, and then when I get close to that end, I do snip off the tail and just keep going, hoping the tail isn't too noticeable. And that it, you know, hides. I know people will probably ask. This is Knit Picks Palette yarn. I have no idea what shade it is because there's no label on it. I want to say like Majesty or Majestic or something. I bought it many years ago. And then this is size 4.5 millimeter hook that I'm using. I think that's probably good. So I'm going to join with a slip stitch. Trim, pull it out, and I don't know what I'm going to do with the tails yet, but that's ring number 2. Start with just a loop and, you know, a starting stitch, like a little slip, and then you just crochet from there. Oops, I am crocheting with the wrong end. Oops, let's try that again. Oh, I wasn't, it just broke. Interesting. All right, let's try that again. So start with a loop, and then I just make like a chain stitch almost, and that joins it, and then I can single crochet from there. Making sure that I'm doing the long end and not the short end, because that's not going to last very long now, is it? And then slip stitch, cut, tie off. And now I have 3 of them. This is going to be quite the hefty collar, I think, when I'm done. I think when I get 5 done, I will stop, measure everything, measure her neck, measure her current collar, and then do the math on how many rings I have to do to get a full collar around her. Now the collar doesn't look like it meets. There's a little gap in the front where it's just the braid. I just need to make sure I'm not making too many of these and wasting yarn. Right. All right, I have 5 done. And so I'm going to test this out. I need 18-inch circle. So I'm taking the tail that's left, just pushing it through several stitches, cutting it off so that I get something that has no tails on it. And I'm putting them in a row. I'm going to guess that I'm roughly going to need between 25 and maybe 30. All right. So this is from here to here, about 4.5 inches. So for every 5, I lose an inch. So I need 4 sets. So I need, this is a quarter of it essentially. Because what I did is I took 18, which is what I need finished, and I divided by 4.5, which is the inches, and that's 4. So I need 4 sets of these to go all the way around. But again, I don't want to go all the way around. So I think we're going to do 2 more sets of 5 and then maybe a set of 4. I will say these rings work up really quickly, so this has been a pretty decent project so far. I do think thinner brass rings would be nice. Well, first off, they would be lighter in weight, which I think would be good. And then they wouldn't be, so thick. And this will be a thick collar when it's done. I don't even know how you would search for that. But if we could find thinner rings, I think that would work out better. This is going to work. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. All right, last one, I think, if I did my math right. Alright, so I have my rings here. They're in order. I made cords just with 4 things of yarn and twisted them. And I made 1 tassel. I'll show you how I do the tassel in a little bit, but I need to get to this step so I could put all of this in. So this is basically going to be a weaving thing from what I understand. So if I take these 2 outer ones, put them over and put it under this first one, I'm not entirely sure if it's going to keep them in place, but let's try a couple and just see how this goes. Oh no, that pulled right out. Well, I guess we'll do the tassel again in a little bit because that wasn't very sturdy. Alright, that is holding them together better. Alright. Now I have to replicate that over and over and over again. Fun. I'm not even sure what I did there. It's a little bit more complicated than I thought it was going to be, and I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so this one goes underneath this bottom one. So it's working. Again, I just have not the greatest idea of what I'm doing here. next one goes underneath. So they all go underneath the one I'm working on. And then both the end cords do the same thing, and then the middle one does the opposite. That's the best way I can explain what I'm doing right now. I may have to start all over with a longer cord because it is, I made it longer than it, the collar, but with how this is weaving up and down, it is taking up inches every time I do this. Yeah, that's going to be way too short. Okay, we're going to start over with a much, much longer cord. I made that one like 27 inches, and that's clearly not going to work because this is only, okay, I think we're going to be fine on rings. It's just I'm going to need a lot more of that. Now I see why they wanted to use cord. Cord would be easier and faster. Because this is a preset length. It's whatever I cut it at and fold it in quarters and twist it. That's what this is. Whereas if I actually had a cord, I could do very long lengths. It might look good to have a little bit of soutache braid or something. I could do it in white. I know I have white. I think I have white braid. I'll look for it. This is easier with a crochet hook. Just, if you ever go to try this, it is easier with the crochet hook because you can pull all of this in and out. And I found some gray soutache, which I think looks better than white. And I think I cut at 50 inches, which is over twice what I need. So hopefully it's enough. But that's what it's looking like. I do think it would look better if the braid were the same color as the rings, but didn't exactly have that option, so that's okay. Okay, this goes through here. This goes down. I'm starting to get in a little bit of a groove where I sort of and go, oh yeah, this is my next step, and then this is my next step. Okay, so that's one ring attached. The only thing is making sure that they're equally far apart. I'm also trying to make sure the rings are facing one direction. And there's a spot usually where you can see the join, and I'm hiding that underneath the previous one. Or at least that's the goal here. Guess I should keep measuring just in case. Okay, we're at 13 and a half. We may not use them all. We'll see. Two more left. Okay, we actually, this is long enough. Okay, so I did 2 extras on accident. That's okay. It's okay. Now I have to decide how I want to do this. I think stitching these down to where they won't move will be a good idea. It doesn't look like they are on the illustration, but it's an illustration. So let's see. One of these does need to go under, and I will stitch it down to where they stay in place, and then we'll figure out what our next steps are from here. So what I'm doing is stitching it down with a little bit of gray thread just to make sure that it stays. I don't think I have to, but it's making me feel a little bit more secure about it. So these types of collars, they are very decorative. They would not be for the type of dog that is going to that needs a collar to be able to restrain them. This isn't going to hold up to that. So then just like that, fairly simple. Now I have an entire set of rings that are attached together, and they're going to form a collar. Now we need to do tassels. First, there's a little ring that attaches them. So hang on, let me cut this. I'll cut it even in a little bit. I bet that's what I heard earlier yet. I heard something metallic hit the floor. I couldn't figure out what it was. So I have a little ring here, and that is going to attach both sides of this. It's a much smaller ring. I thought about covering it in the purple, but I think since I'm doing the gray here, it'll be fine. It needs to be this way for this side. And then the tassels will keep this ring in place. Now it will be an adjustable collar. But yeah, so I'm going to make sure that this is all the same length, more or less anyway. So I'll chop that off. Now I have 2 sides, so I need 2 tassels. And it uses pom-poms, so we'll use tassels. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay, we'll call that good. Now I have to figure out how I'm going to get this to stay. Probably with needle and thread. That usually is the most secure way to do this. I need to keep all of these together so they're going to get stitched together. And we're going to stitch through where the tassel is going to go, and then I'll hide it with some yarn. So if I take this, roughly put it in half, my needle through there, pull that through. As I'm doing the stitching, I'm making sure I catch some yarn. I'm making sure that I catch the gray particles, and all of this is going to get hidden, so I'm not super concerned about it. I'm making sure that I go through the gray soutache multiple times, go through everything, make sure it's as sturdy as can be. I can really pull on that. As long as I can really pull on it, we are good. Of the wool yarn, and I'm going to pull that across, and basically I'm going to hide all the stitches, right? And then not only do we cut this, we cut that too. So there is tassel number 1. Now I get to do the exact same thing on this other side. And generally you would try to pick out half and then put this through the half so it looks like it comes down through the middle. Clearly that didn't work so well the last time. As long as I can pull on it and it doesn't, you know, fall apart or anything, that should be good. I didn't actually mark how many passes I made this time or how many rounds I did, so we're just going to make it look like the other side. Best guess scenario here. There we go. So now we have a collar. All right, so here's the collar just as it is. It turns out a lot more pink. In real life, it's really purple. It's a good choice. Want to sit down? Good girl. Good sit. Yeah, it is quite big. So that's how I measured it as. But yeah, look at that. All right, sit. Good girl. So there it is. It is quite big. I think the tassels are a cute addition. I really do think that sets off the project. But yeah, it's definitely just like a cute, like this is definitely an owned dog. Please don't harm it because it's loved type project. It's not necessarily something that you could attach a leash to or anything. I mean, you could, and I think it's sturdy enough to do it. I would have to do it on the rings here. What I would do is actually clip a leash to both of these rings and just let that sort of hang down, because that's plenty of space. And then I would hold the leash right here. That's sturdy enough to actually use. But yeah, next time we go out to an event, Lady has her own collar. She can get dressed up too. Like, she can get all dressed up. You come this way. See, there you go. Good girl. That's a nice collar. I do think the color looks good on her. It is a very nice collar. But yeah, I think that's about it for today. So we made ourselves an 1870s dog collar. I would eventually like to maybe make an 1850s, 1860s one, and then maybe also an 1830s one. That'll cover most of my living history stuff. And it will let us have some more fun projects down the road. We also need to make a leash. I'm betting I could probably make a knit cord one or something. It'd be nice to have them match. So like the 1870s one can be this color. We'll do a different color for the other ones. So that way I can keep track of them a little bit better. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me today as we made our little 1871 dog collar. If you've enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe to the channel, click that little bell notification so you're notified anytime I upload a new video. And as always, have a fantastic week, and I'll see you back here in the next video.